Hey there, Brainy Marketers. Welcome back to another episode of Brainy Marketing. My name's Larry Koch, and today we are deep diving once again into customer lifetime value, otherwise known as lifetime value of a client, why it's so important for your business, and how you should work it out, specifically if you are a software or subscription type of company. Now, if you haven't already seen my introduction to the concept, which is a little softer, then you might consider doing that first, pausing this video and going to check that one out. That should be either in a link in the description or will pop up on the frame of this video somewhere. You go over there, check that one out, come back to this one. Now, to deep dive into this, it's super important for you to get lifetime value correct as a software or subscription type company. Without a proper calculation of customer lifetime value, you could be either spending too little to acquire customers or spending too much. At a very basic level, what you're looking at is what is your average subscription per customer. So let's say it's £50 a month, and how many months are you expecting that customer to be with you? So let's say it's 12 months. After 12 months, you expect the average customer to just quit, cancel their plan, or churn and no longer be paying you any money at all. So 12 months times £50 is, of course, £600. So in that case, the average revenue over the lifetime of a client that you would expect would be £600. Of course, some clients are going to stay for longer, some are going to quit almost immediately. But what you want to do is take all the data from the back end of your website, from your subscriptions, and work out these numbers for yourself. What's the average tenure of a client? Now, what you want to do is not just focus on revenue. To run your business, you no doubt have loads of costs to deliver that subscription or deliver the services that people are paying for. You may have also had a huge capital expenditure initially to build the software or to build whatever it was that now people are subscribing to. So you want to factor all this in and sort of say, right, I might be getting £600 in revenue from each customer, but I'm going to say that, let's say 50% of that, £300 of that is value to me, because the rest of it needs to go towards keeping the lights running, keeping everybody paid, keeping the service delivered. So if you're already with me this far, that's pretty much 75% of the battle right there. If you can do that, that's going to be great. Now, if you don't have enough data because you're a new business, or you've only got like 3 months track record, or you only have a small amount of clients, this can be very problematic. And so what I would do in this case is I would look at some analogs, go check out online similar calculations that have been done for companies just like yours. Try and think of big businesses that have the same charging model as you, or are similar in many aspects, and go and look at someone who's tried to calculate customer lifetime value for them, and then apply some of those things to yourself. That's the kind of basics out of the way. But let's go in and complicate things just a little bit here. So you have something called the churn pattern, and there are 4 main patterns here. The first is very easy to understand. It's just called constant. So someone signs up to your £50 a month package, and just every single month, a certain percentage there's a certain percentage likelihood that they're just going to cancel. Every month, if you started with 100 people that signed up to your package, 5% would quit every single month until you've got no people left. And the average would be 12 months. So that's just an average churn rate of like 5%. And that's constant. The second could be declining. And this means that you actually start off with a pretty much little a churn rate. So maybe it might even be 0% for the first month or two, because everyone's getting such great value out of what you do. Nobody ever quits for the first couple months. But then you start seeing that third month, a percentage of people quit. Fourth month, a higher percentage of people quit. And so the percentage likelihood that they'll quit as time goes on gets higher and higher and higher and higher. So it's not just a stable decline. It's actually a sort of loop downwards, and it gets worse and worse and worse the longer someone's with you, because they've extracted all the value presumably out of what it is that you do. The third one is called the annual renewal. Kind of says what it does on the tin. If you have an annual renewal model, then obviously when it comes time to renewing, you're going to lose a lot of people. When you get to that 12-month point, people that just simply had enough, they don't want to renew, they're gone. And then the fourth one is what's called the cliff. And that you sometimes see in publishing or sort of content wall, or sorry, payment wall for content kind of things, where people sign up because they're interested in one thing. they get what they need for a month and then they quit. And so you might see a very, very sharp drop after the first month to almost 20% of people, and then it kind of just trickles along thereafter. So maybe the people that you do keep after that are seriously interested in what you do, but you've got a whole bunch of users that are just there to get into the door, get access to the stuff they need, get the value, and then bounce. And so those are the 4 different types of pattern. Now, if you have different types of customer, or you have different types of plans, different size plans, different things that you offer in your subscriptions, you might find that when you segment your customers, that they follow different patterns. If this is the case with you, then you want to do what's called apply a discount to your basic CLV number. So you've got your basic CLV number, which we sort of worked out before. Let's say in this case it was £600 for that customer. Now, if you notice that there's all these different patterns going on, so it's not just one stable percentage, but some of your plans is a cliff, others of your plan is constant, then that variability can be a little bit sort of problematic, and you want to account for that because those things might change in the future in ways that you might not want. You want to account for that problematic, sort of erratic churn rate patterns as a discount. So you might say, rather than saying each one is worth £600 of revenue or £300 of profit to me, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say it's 0.75 of that. I'm going to discount things to 75% because in the future these patterns might work out against me. So rather than saying each customer is worth £300 to me, I'm actually now saying that it's worth 225 or something like that. So £225. So I'm taking 75% off. So all you're doing there is just adding a kind of discount based on how much confusion you see in your patterns. If it's stable, just stick to that stable constant number. If it's relatively stable, just keep to that. If it's not, then add a little discount just to be conservative, just to be safe, just so we don't get bitten on the arse later when the company gets more developed and these patterns might change. Now, the final thing I want to mention, the third one, is to account for expansion of accounts. So if you have a subscription, and this is particularly true of B2B subscriptions or software, particularly ones where it's a sort of per user charging, then you're going to want to account for the growth of the average account or the growth rate. Because if you had this same customer that you expect to be gone in 12 months paying you £50 per month, at month 6 he doubles it into £100 to go for your premium package, then actually you're not just making £600, you're making £900 off that customer. So instead of £300 profit, you're now actually making £450 profit. That's a very, very big difference, you see, because now you're actually willing to spend a lot more to acquire a customer that you're expecting to expand in the future. Again, this is the sort of thing where if you're just starting out, it's hard to forecast these things. Maybe your premium package you only have on your roadmap for 6 months' time, or maybe you don't know what your next packages might be. Maybe you're thinking about areas you could expand into, but you don't know yet. But you might want to just account a little bit for the fact that in the future, you're going to be upselling your existing client base. So maybe rather than just looking at the lifetime value as it is now, you might consider that when you have these premium packages, the averages are going to go up, and so you're actually willing to spend maybe a little bit more to acquire a customer than just your straight lifetime value on today's data implies. So I hope that makes sense. Now, most B2C companies that are doing software subscriptions, no one really has that sort of model, and if your model only has one subscription or varying different subscriptions for different categories of user, and there's no sort of cross upselling or anything like that, then you don't need to worry about expansion. But especially, like I said, if you're on a per user charge or you're expecting people to grow and grow and grow and grow with you, then you want to have a significant bolt-on to your initial calculation of LTV to account for this growth rate that you're expecting. So guys, I hope that makes complete sense. That is the nuts and bolts of calculating CLV as a software or subscription company. Hope it was super, super useful. I tried to keep it as entry level and as simple as possible. Of course, with all these things, guys, don't overcook it. Just get that basic number first, so at least you know you've got that, and then just try and say, look, are these things going to expand in the future? Do I need to account for that? Or do I have such a weird churn rate with my customers? Is it really not figured out yet so that it actually might turn into one churn rate versus the other? Let me account for that variability and that unpredictability with a little discount rate. And so by modulating it down on this end and up on this end, you're going to see a good number for LTV. So guys, hope that was useful. If it was, do consider becoming a subscriber. Cheers and see you for the next one. Hey there, brainy marketers. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you found it useful, do us a favor and like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this video on all of your social media channels. So go ahead and do all those things, and we'll see you for the next video. Cheers.